Have you ever caught yourself wondering what it would feel like to stop getting older? Not to live a long time, but to reach a point where aging simply no longer applies to you. It sounds like something from a science fiction story, yet hidden in the ocean is a tiny animal that appears to do exactly that. Most of us think of life as a one-way journey. We are born, we grow, we age, and eventually we die. Everything around us seems to follow that same path. The tree outside your window starts as a seedling. The stray cat that wanders through your neighborhood begins as a playful kitten. Even the insects gathering around a porch light on a warm evening live out their brief lives and disappear. Nature seems to have written the same rule for everyone, except for one astonishing creature. Far below the surface of the sea lives a tiny jellyfish known as the immortal jellyfish. It is so small that you could easily overlook it. Most are only about the size of a fingernail. They drift quietly through coastal waters, carried by currents that barely notice they exist. At first glance, there is nothing extraordinary about them. They have no giant teeth, no remarkable speed, no dazzling colors. They do not dominate their environment like sharks or whales, yet this humble little animal may possess one of the strangest abilities ever discovered in nature. It can grow old and then become young again. To understand why scientists were so shocked by this discovery, it helps to understand how most jellyfish live. A jellyfish begins life as a tiny larva floating through the water. Eventually, it settles onto a surface and transforms into a small structure called a polyp. The polyp resembles a miniature sea anemone attached to a rock or shell. From there it grows and eventually releases young jellyfish into the water. The jellyfish stage is what we usually recognize. It is the familiar umbrella-shaped form drifting through the sea. For nearly every species, that journey moves in only one direction. But the immortal jellyfish does something completely different. When it becomes injured, stressed, starved, or faces harsh environmental conditions, it can reverse its life cycle. Instead of continuing toward death, it transforms itself back into the younger polyp stage. Imagine watching an adult butterfly suddenly turn back into a caterpillar. Imagine a fully grown oak tree somehow becoming a sapling again. It sounds impossible because nothing around us behaves that way. Yet this jellyfish does. Scientists first realized something unusual was happening when they observed mature jellyfish seemingly refusing to follow the normal pattern of aging. Under certain conditions, the animals would collapse inward and begin a remarkable transformation. Their bodies reorganized themselves, cells changed roles, structures disappeared and reformed. Eventually, the adult jellyfish became a youthful colony once more. Then the cycle could begin again. And again, the secret lies inside the jellyfish's cells. Your body is made of highly specialized cells. Some become skin, others become muscle, others become nerve tissue. Once a cell has chosen its job, it usually stays committed to that role. The immortal jellyfish appears capable of something called cellular transdifferentiation. In simple terms, its cells can switch identities. It is a bit like a carpenter suddenly becoming an electrician, then later becoming an architect, all while helping rebuild the same house. Researchers believe this extraordinary flexibility allows the jellyfish to rebuild itself from within. Instead of merely repairing damage, it can effectively restart major parts of its biological clock. You can see a distant echo of this ability in your own backyard. If a lizard loses its tail, it can regrow part of it. If you scrape your knee, your skin repairs itself. Life already contains incredible repair mechanisms. The immortal jellyfish simply takes the idea much further than almost anything else we know. Of course, the name immortal can be misleading. These jellyfish are not invincible. A hungry fish can eat one. Disease can affect them. Environmental changes can kill them. They can still become prey like countless other marine animals. What makes them remarkable is that they seem capable of escaping death from aging itself. That distinction fascinates scientists because aging remains one of biology's greatest mysteries. Every day, cells throughout your body accumulate tiny forms of damage. Proteins wear out, DNA experiences errors, repair systems gradually become less efficient. Over time, these small changes add up. Think about an old wooden fence standing through years of rain, wind, and sunlight. Even with regular maintenance, signs of wear eventually appear. Nature faces a similar challenge inside every living thing, yet the immortal jellyfish appears to have discovered a way of stepping back from that process. Not forever, perhaps, not perfectly, but enough to force scientists to rethink what aging actually means. The discovery has inspired researchers around the world. By studying how these jellyfish transform their cells, scientists hope to better understand regeneration, tissue repair, and the biological mechanisms that control aging. No one expects humans to become immortal because of a jellyfish. Biology is far more complicated than that. But every major scientific breakthrough begins with understanding something that once seemed impossible. Sometimes the greatest lessons come from the smallest teachers, and perhaps that is the most surprising part of this story. The immortal jellyfish does not live in some hidden lost world. It drifts through ordinary oceans. It shares the planet with us right now. Countless people walk along beaches every day without realizing that somewhere beyond the waves swims an animal challenging one of life's most fundamental rules. If stories like this remind you how much wonder still exists in the natural world, consider subscribing to Global Wild Origins. This channel is for curious minds who enjoy looking a little deeper at the creatures sharing our planet. There is always another mystery waiting just beneath the surface. The more scientists study nature, the more they discover that life is far stranger than our imaginations first assume. Birds navigate across entire continents using cues we are only beginning to understand. Trees exchange chemical signals beneath the forest floor. Tiny insects perform feats of engineering that would challenge human designers. And somewhere in the ocean, a jellyfish quietly grows old, then young, then old again. There is something humbling about that. We spend so much of our lives measuring time. We celebrate birthdays, we watch seasons change, we notice gray hairs appearing in the mirror. Aging feels so universal that we rarely question it. Then nature presents us with a tiny creature that seems to ask whether the story has another chapter. Not because it holds the secret to eternal life, but because it reminds us how much remains unknown. The next time you find yourself staring at the ocean, watching waves roll endlessly toward shore, remember that beneath that surface are lives unfolding in ways we are still struggling to comprehend. And perhaps that is the real wonder of the immortal jellyfish. Not that it may live forever, but that it reveals how many extraordinary possibilities are still hidden in the ordinary world around us. Sometimes the smallest creature in the sea can make time itself feel a little less certain.